I'm sure they work on things. It's not like people just run off and get divorced.
I would hope, right?
Absolutely. Like, I'm sure by that point, being in a long-term marriage, they've already tried therapy. They probably, if they go to church, they've tried counseling with their church. They probably have tried a lot at that point. And sometimes, because I see these clients, it's not even the big thing,
right,
that they've already experienced. It's just infraction, what they view as infractions in their marriage. And they finally just get to that point where I'm done.
So, Amber Robinson, thank you so much for being here. By the way, this is Amber Robinson. She is a family law attorney here in Las Vegas. Comes highly recommended. Why don't you, if you would, please tell us a little bit, give us like a Reader's Digest version about maybe how you came to Vegas, what you did before you became an attorney, and really more importantly, why did you choose family law?
Okay. Well, I came to Vegas because I was born here. So born and raised Nevada.
Nice.
And lived in Las Vegas my entire life. And I went to college at University of Nevada, Reno, so to get that in-state tuition, but have the feeling of still being away from home.
I saw that, competing schools.
Yes. And then came back down here. Actually, I graduated in the winter semester. So I came back down to Vegas wondering what law school I'd be going to.
Mm-hmm.
And then UNLV was somewhere that I was accepted. And they were just really up and coming really fast. And then price-wise, comparing them to other law schools I'd been accepted to, it just made sense to stay home and do law school here.
That's outstanding. So then that's a very short episode because you've been here. Did you ever live anywhere else other than Reno?
No, I did study abroad, so that was pretty fun. And I actually did that in law school. I had no idea that you could do that in law school. I just wanted to get through college as fast as I could. And I don't know, back then you just think everybody is so old when they're 23, 24.
Yeah, right.
And everything's going to take so much time. Like another semester, adding on a semester to school seems like so long. But then I regretted it, not having done that in college. And so in law school, I found out you could go to study abroad. So I did a summer, my first year summer, I did the Mediterranean experience.
Oh, cool.
And I bounced around from Greece, Italy, south of France, and Barcelona.
How nice.
So that was really cool. But yeah, I've just been Vegas all the other times.
That's outstanding. So tell me why you chose family law, because when someone says, yeah, I'm going to be a lawyer, I think to myself, there's like 5,000 disciplines that you can choose. Why would you choose family law?
It was really close to my heart at that time. I went straight from college to law school, almost really a semester break. But I was just going straight through. And my parents divorced when I was 20, so it would have been my junior year going into my senior year. They were divorcing, and then it was just kind of the drama and the after effects out of all of that. So family law, community property law was something that was really interesting to me while I was in law school. And so I decided to apply for an externship, and I specifically wanted to be with a family court judge because here in Nevada, both north and south, our judges, we have a separate realm of family court judges that do only domestics. And so I applied for an externship and I got it, and I really liked my judge. And she actually liked me so much that she invited me back to be her law clerk about a year and a half later when I graduated. And so then I worked for her for that year, and I was going to be leaving, but another family court judge there offered me a year-long clerkship with him.
Oh, wow.
So I did 2 back-to-back family court clerkships. And so that's just the law that I was exposed to through work. Through that first judge that hired me, she got me my first legal job. And it was at a family law firm who's now, one of my friendly competitors now. And so I did family law work there. And then I go after graduation, continue on the family law work. So it's just who you're networking with, what I'm exposed to.
Yeah, that's great. And so what are you most passionate about with regards to the family law?
Surprisingly, it's probably not the answer you're thinking of in relation to divorce. I am most passionate about adoption. That falls in the family law realm. Yep. We don't get those very often, but I'm an adopted child.
Me too.
Are you?
Yep.
Very cool. My brother is adopted, and we were both adopted at birth, and he's 2.5 years younger than me. And I think to explain where he came from, my parents decided to tell me that I was adopted. And so it's just something I've always known and have been interested in. So those cases hit really close to home when we get them. And most of the time, because we're doing private adoptions, most of the time it's a very happy occasion for the family. It's not a result of something terrible. Something
nefarious that happened between the parties. Yeah. I absolutely, I love the fact that I'm divorced. Adopted rather. I'm also divorced too, but that's a whole different conversation. Being adopted, though, was pleasant growing up. My mom never made any bones about it. As a matter of fact, when I was misbehaving, it was like, if you don't straighten up, I'm taking you back. I used to say that all the time. But yes, both my sister and I are adopted, and I think that's a great calling.
Yes.
There's a lot of kids out there really who could use a good, stable home, and I love the fact that you do that and that you love that. So let's talk about the reason why I brought you in here is because I have discovered through my readings and being around my clients and now being 60, getting my AARP subscription, that senior divorce is a thing. A silver divorce is kind of a trend right now. What do you think is going on with people?
I don't know. I have been seeing that as a trend, and I actually thought about speaking on it a couple weeks ago when I was doing a speaking engagement, because that is one of the trends that we're seeing. And I don't know, part of the older group are the baby boomers, so that's part of it, is we have a large population segment in that age range. I think part of it can be related to just the changing of times, where it's not a thing necessarily anymore that women stay home and raise the kids only. They're not as financially dependent on their spouse. So I feel like that this option exists for men and women. But I just think it's more women that have that option to still be financially independent, and when they're not happy, I'm sure they work on things. It's not like people just run off and get divorced.
I would hope, right?
Absolutely. I'm sure by that point, being in a long-term marriage, they've already tried therapy. They probably, if they go to church, they've tried counseling with their church. They probably have tried a lot at that point. And sometimes, because I see these clients, it's not even the big thing.
Right.
That they've already experienced. It's just infraction, what they view as infractions in their marriage, and they finally just get to that point where I'm done.
Yeah. Having been divorced twice, I'm in my third marriage, by the way, and very excited because this one will not end in divorce. One, she's my best friend, and we've been married now close to 20 years, and we have a murder-suicide pact, so it ain't going to end in divorce. It's going to be shoot or be shot. That's how it's going to work. We joke about that a lot, of course, but she's my best friend, and there's nobody I'd rather spend time with. So that works out good. But I understand that sometimes you can get to a place where you've had enough is enough, or sometimes somebody else's behavior, you can't control them, and you have to extricate yourself from that situation because it's sucking you into a dark hole. I get that part. How do you, as an attorney, separate yourself from the emotion of that?
Well, yeah, family law can be pretty heavy.
I imagine so.
I've gone home and I've cried at times, but overall, I do have to have that separation and think about it. Still, approaching our cases with empathy, of course, but not taking on everybody's emotions, because that can be a lot. So how I try and separate myself a little bit from the client is just a lot of well-being practices like yoga, meditations. If they're telling me an upsetting story, I'm not getting upset with them. I'm finding out, okay, what is the information that we need here? Because of course there's emotion that comes along with the story. Right. But what do I need to best represent you and get you what you need at the end of the day?
Yeah, I would imagine so. And it'd be challenging for me to not be emotionally tied to it, because like my current clients, I absolutely love my clients. I mean, I'm in a place in my career after almost 38 years that if I don't like you, I'm not working with you. Yeah. I mean, I have the right to choose who I want to work with as a business owner, and if I don't like you, I won't work with you. And I find that my seniors, I absolutely love them to death, because they got so many great stories and history that I need to learn from, right? So, I mean, granted, I am 60 now, kind of a senior, although when I was his age, I was getting offered the discount at Denny's, and I would take it, because like if I'm 30 and they want to give me a discount at Denny's, I'm gonna take it.
Absolutely,
discount's a discount, right? And that's because I've been growing gray since I was like 29. So looking at let's just say your last however long you've been in this business, you got any really heartwarming stories about maybe somebody that came in and was thinking about getting a divorce and maybe they opted to do something different?
I don't know that those people would necessarily circle back to me, but I can tell when someone is not ready and when they have not tried and exhausted all of their options. I am of the opinion I should be your very last phone call. Yeah. Obviously, don't be in danger. Don't put up with abuse, whether that's emotional, financial, sexual. Don't put yourself in danger. But at the same time, if it's just arguments, communication styles, that kind of thing, that to me, a marriage it's the foundation of our society, and one should try harder before they resort to divorce. That being said, sometimes divorce is the only option for people, and then that's when we're there to help. So I've turned several people away, saying, please get into therapy. Please go speak to your church clergy.
Yeah. This could be salvaged.
Go on dates. Yes, absolutely. There's things you can do.
My wife and I have date night every week.
I think that's so important.
We make sure we spend the time. And when we take our grandchildren out, we sit together, they sit together. Yes. We don't let them divide and conquer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's cool. So and maybe I'm wrong on this, I have discovered that at least I see relationships breaking down when the respect is gone. Do you see that same kind of thing? So if somebody were to come in and they were to say things that were disrespectful to their spouse, do you think a person could learn from that and maybe start being more respectful and rekindle a relationship?
Yeah. And there's just
the habit is just there, right? It's the muscle memory of the disrespect. And I've seen it. I think to myself, how can you speak to your spouse like that? Yeah. Even in my worst hours, I would never have spoken to my spouse that way. Just obviously I loved him for a reason. I got married to him at one time. Right. Why would I treat him so poorly? Especially if they're the parent of my child. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think people can fall into patterns, and a lot of times it's what they witnessed growing up. And it's kind of like their environment that they feel comfortable in, and what they were exposed to as a child, it's sad.
Yeah, it is. So if a person, say they were 75 years old and they were thinking that this is a path that they need to take, what would be the best thing for them to do? Obviously scheduling an appointment with you, but how should they come to that appointment prepared? What could they do to be prepared to meet with you and have a constructive conversation?
They'll want to have an idea of their financial picture. What are their bills each month? What income do they have coming in from Social Security?
For both parties, right? They need to know everybody's info.
Yeah. What retirement accounts? Are their retirement accounts paying them? And just overall their monthly bills, expenses.
So being prepared, knowing all that's going on in the family, how do you deal with, because I know, like, God bless my mom, she's 85 years old, and my father, before the divorce, he just was sneaky and secretive and did things that were not healthy financially and didn't share anything with her. And so she knew nothing. And then she married my stepdad, who was wonderful, but he was so wonderful that he sheltered her from all that stuff too. So when he passed away, guess who got to step in? So I manage all the money for my mom's finances. And she's not rich by any stretch, but I take care of all that. How do you help a person who's kind of been in the dark this whole time, who says, listen, I want a divorce because they treat me like crap, but I don't know any of this stuff?
Mm-hmm. So those situations are tough. We would tell them to probably start, like, where they can start looking in their home. Where are they receiving monthly statements from? On their computers, like, what is the history showing if someone is logging in? Are they going to Chase? Are they going to Fidelity? So that's going to tell us a little bit where accounts are.
Yeah. Is there a way that if somebody came in and they were completely blind to that somebody could do a search and find out based on Social Security numbers where people have accounts and stuff like that?
Somebody told me recently, and I haven't heard about this, so I don't know if it's true, about an asset check.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure, because, as you know, we can do debt checks for running through Social Security numbers. So I guess that makes sense a little bit to have an asset check. But I just never heard that or seen that in my practice.
All right. So is there a thing that you've told people often enough that they look at you and they go, I had no idea that that's something I could do, say, or what would be a part of that shocks them?
Maybe like that they're entitled usually to half of the money in the account. Like, you're okay if you want to remove that money, if they're going to actually divorce and need a nest egg to live on for a while. You're okay to take half of that money from that savings account, or half of that money from your safe that's in your house, the cash.
Yeah.
They're surprised to learn that I can do that,
Well, it's half your money.
Yeah.
You should be able to do it. Although things like I was told, and I don't know if this is true, if a person is not happy in the marriage and they leave the household, are there certain things that need to be in play to make sure that it doesn't look like it's an abandonment, that they're still entitled to whatever they're entitled to?
I mean, if they're leaving, I guess they just need to know that they're probably not going to be coming back as far as getting possession of that home pending the divorce. But no, they are not leaving behind their rights, their financial rights to that property.
Right.
That's going to be sorted out through the divorce. Does one of the parties want to keep the house, potentially refinance it? Do they need to list it for sale and divide that money? We kind of figure that out as the divorce is going on.
Yeah, and that's, again, everybody being honest about what they really want and not just being belligerent to create a problem.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I think, at least knowing people the way I know people, sometimes people just lash out because they're lashing out. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you've probably got your BS meter that you can tell the difference, huh?
Yes. Sometimes people are very angry. They're very hurt, a lot of times for good reason. But yeah, sometimes people just try to throw wrenches into the process just because they know it's going to cost their partner more money. It's going to hurt their feelings. It's going to just get under their skin. Whatever the reason, there's definitely a lot of intentional game playing. Yeah,
I bet. That just fascinates me, that somebody you love so much to get married that you would want to go out of your way to hurt them. Even when I was getting divorced, I'm like, listen, let's just call it quits and be done.
Yes. Forget who I was saying this to the other day. I think it was my friend, and we were just talking about that saying that there's a thin line between love and hate.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's something that still fascinates me today. I'm about 17 years in to the practice of law, and I guess over 20 if we include my time at the court. And so it fascinates me that you can be so in love and just want to spend every day for the rest of your life with that person. Like, what happens along the way that there's so much contempt and hatred? And it's not that way for everybody, obviously, but
Right.
for some marriages, for sure.
Yeah. So going back to, again, thinking about the senior citizen thing, when we're looking at, say, somebody has a house, maybe they have some rental properties, what do you recommend that the parties consider when they're actually going to approach their spouse about the divorce? I mean, because I understand that sometimes when you say, listen, this is not working as well as it should, blah, 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 blah. I know my second wife, she hadn't spoken to me for 45 days, and I didn't understand what the hell was going on. Apparently, I did something to piss her off. And I finally said, listen, I'm just going to go move in with my mom, and we'll just get a divorce because this is not working for me, not working for you. And her response was, well, gosh, if it's not perfect, if it's not lovey-dovey all the time, you don't want it. I'm like, yeah, it's my second marriage. I expected it to be lovey-dovey all the time,
Right.
at least for the first year, right? And so I know that people can react in different ways. So how do you prepare a person to be ready for that reaction?
Well, it's going to take them knowing their spouse and how they might potentially react, in the sense of they have been around other stressful situations or other anger-inducing situations. I certainly tell them that they need to consider their safety first.
Right.
If it's something that can be talked about, like, hey, let's have a calm, adult, loving conversation, approach it with dignity. That's always my number one piece of advice, I guess, because I just think that's deserved. And
Right.
especially where there's children and grandchildren involved.
Right.
Just because the marriage is ending, the family is not ending. And so you got to consider you're going to be around these people for weddings and birthdays and graduations. And
until death.
Until death.
Because technically, even if you're divorced, it's still till death do we depart. You're still part of the life in the family. My first wife and I, she is the mother of my son, and thank God we've actually developed a reasonable relationship over the last 5 years, and we've been divorced for 25 years. So it took a while.
Right. Yeah.
Took a while.
Sometimes it's not immediate.
Yeah.
Trying to think how else I counsel our clients.
Because you're kind of also, at that point, you're also the therapist.
Yes. Not a licensed therapist, but yeah, I've done this so much. I've encountered my own sad things in life, and I think when I keep seeing the same thing over and over, I can at least lend advice. I always, make sure everybody knows I'm not a therapist. Like, have several great therapists I can recommend you to. But sometimes that conversation isn't going to be possible with all people. Sometimes we need to let the law thing just kind of happen and for the person to get served. We are very settlement oriented. And so sometimes in our serve, we will include a settlement offer and just include a letter. Like, we're not looking to just over litigate everything here. We welcome you to sit down and have a conversation about all of this.
Yeah. And I think your approach to that of really gauging what they do or don't know about their partner, and which better, being more sterile and having the constable deliver it or get it served that way,
right? Or
if it's better to have a conversation. I think that's a good thing, and being ready to have that conversation, because nobody knows their spouse better than they do. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, cool. So what else do you think people need to know about this process that maybe I haven't asked you?
I mean, I think they need to think about tax consequences. They do need to think about knowing where all of the assets are located. A lot of people want to save money and not hire lawyers. And this is not a plug for me, but it's just what we've seen in our practice when people just try to do the quick divorce, or trust everything that their partner has put in that paperwork, and they just sign. And I've had someone in recent years come back to me, and she was telling me, like, he didn't include this, and he didn't include this, he didn't include that. Some things he did include, but gave himself 100% of. And so I let her know, well, we can go back because we're still within a certain statutory time frame for some omitted assets. But on some of these other things that he gave himself 100% of, there's nothing that I can do.
Yeah, and he signed off on that. So it'd be hard for them to come back and say, well, wait a second, I didn't read that all the way. That's kind of your job as the person who's in the middle of this, right?
So that's one of the things, is to just make sure somebody else is looking out for you. One of the other things is to not make emotional decisions, because a lot of people can shut down when they're hurt.
Right.
And they just want it. They think just, if I get it done fast, like this hurt is going to go away. So sometimes they know everything that's there, but I'm okay. I'm not going to ask for alimony. I'm okay. I don't need my part of that retirement account because I just want this to be over and done with.
That's not a good move.
And I can tell you, when you have clarity and space and time, a year or two later, maybe those decisions weren't the best. And if it's in writing, and wasn't an omitted asset or something, you can't go back and undo some of those things that you were entitled to. So that would be the second piece, would be, don't make emotional decisions.
Yeah, I imagine. So what happens if, let's say, take for instance, somebody's living here and they moved here from another state and their soon to be ex that they haven't filed on or anything is living in another state, and they have communicated this is not going anywhere, it's getting a divorce. How does that happen? Is the divorce filed in the home where they were domiciling together before, or is it filed based on where the person lives that wants to file?
That would depend on if there's children. But since we're kind of talking and more geared towards senior citizen, probably no minor children at home.
Right.
Because jurisdiction in that sense, because you want the lawsuit to handle everything, children and divorce, you would file where the kids are. But if party A is living in Nevada, party B is out in North Carolina, you really have the option of where you want to file.
Oh, that's good. So the person who wants the divorce lives here, they can file, and then it would just be how that person back in North Carolina deals with it.
Right. But then I would also consider other things in that scenario. Is person that's located in North Carolina, are they more of the money person? Are they still working, bringing in income, that kind of thing? I might choose to file there just for ease of subpoenas, being able to locate some of that information. But if everybody's just kind of retired, living retired lives in different states, it probably doesn't matter too much where you file.
Well, that's good to know. Excellent. Well, I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate this. This is going to be great value for my folks out there. I think
so.
When they hear it, and chances are people are going to ask me questions, so you're okay with me sending them your way to answer questions, right?
Yes, thank you so much.
No, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Rock and rollin', I ain't tired of rock and rollin'. I'll be dancing till the morning. That old music